Alright folks, let's talk about how the major news media is in fact the enemy of the people. Now you see folks, I'm sitting here with my little handy dandy friendly surveillance camera so that I can prove where I'm at all the time, because the truth that I'm about to tell you is quite damaging to the swamp, to the great big huge rigged deep state. Folks, you've got lending programs within the United States government, primarily FHA, HUD, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, which are quasi-governmental lending programs, with Sallie Mae, that's your student loan people, and of course you got the Farmers Home Administration, you've got the Federal Home Loan Bank Board, and then of course you've got all sorts of lending institutions that are Federal Reserve member banks, which are not government entities. But what is going on in this country, folks, is the Federal Reserve, for example, they print up huge amounts of money right out of nothing, right out of the thin air, and then they pass it out to their member banks first. The FHA, HUD, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Sallie Mae, Veterans Administration, Farmers Home Administration, Federal Home Loan Bank Board, they lend out this money to their inner circle of very well-connected political operatives. So you've got billions upon billions of dollars in credit going out to certain insiders that are the members of the two major political parties, the two major political mafias, the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. I call them the publicans and the demon rats. These are the individuals, if you will. This is the organized crime that's controlling your country, and they're doing it by financing all their political operations with government credit programs. This is why people like Catherine Austin Fitts, a former undersecretary of HUD and a former secretary of the FHA under George Bush and Ronald Reagan, is so astute at telling the whole world that there's over 20 trillion missing from the U.S. economy, from the U.S. financial system. According to Catherine Fitts and a few other people, there's as much as 21 to 30 trillion dollars that has vanished right up in smoke. The funding budgets of the Pentagon, the funding budgets of the U.S. Treasury, the funding budgets of the pension insurance funds, the funding budget of the Office of Management and Budget for the White House, the funding budgets for the Central Intelligence Agency are missing huge, vast amounts of cash. Now here's where it gets quite interesting. Jimmy Comey and Robert Mueller know absolutely damn well that what I'm relating to the world on this video is accurate. This is how U.S. elections are rigged. They're bought with huge amounts of printed out of the thin air. Doesn't cost them anything to print all this money up, and it certainly doesn't cost them anything to keystroke it into computer balance sheets at all their Federal Reserve member banks. Now if you take a look at who's financing the main mafias, the syndicates, the cabal, the swamp, the deep state, you'll discover it's insurance companies, heavily the contributors are real estate development companies and banks. And then you've got a sundry of pension funds and hedge fund managers and certain Wall Street investment groups and yada, yada, yada. You got the unions, etc., so on and so forth. The nation has been robbed beyond belief for unbelievable amounts of money. It's just trillions right up in smoke. And Jimmy Comey and Robert Mueller know damn well that this guy right here knows damn well. Catherine Austin Fitts, Professor William Black, you know, Matt Taibbi, Peter Bruton, Lacey Olson from the Houston Chronicle. There'd be a great choice. And grab a hold of Billy Bob Clinton and Hillary Clinton, you know, the bleach bit mafia there that smashed all the devices and wiped all the servers. Bring the Billy Bob Clintons and the Hillary Clintons into this discussion, and let's start asking them how all that money in the foundation was being commingled with all the money in the Clinton for President funds. You see, Hillary was being given large sums of money by these operatives to control, to rig, and to steal the national elections. So to sum this up, since 1982, I've attempted to get the major news media to assist me in exposing the savings and loan swindles, the banking lootings, the massive bank lootings that have been going on for 25, 30 years, and this giant, unbelievable looting of FHA, HUD, the Veterans Administration, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, Sallie Mae, Farmers Home Administration, and the pension fund management insurance funds, and all these hedge funds and Wall Street brokerages, along with DOD, the Pentagon, and the IRS and Treasury. Vast, massive, unbelievable amounts of money are swindled from the government financial systems, the government credit agencies, and are funneled into Republican and Democratic political operations. And that includes the funding of Donald J. Trump. Sorry, Donald J., you're part of this too, and you know it. You do it a little bit differently than the Clintons do it, but you still do it, Donald Trump. So currently before the world, Deutsche Bank, Credit Suisse, JP Morgan Chase, WAMU, Wells Fargo, Citibank, Goldman Sachs, and the list just goes on and on and on and on. HSBC, UBS, Zions Bank, Far West Bank. I can name banks all day long that have been involved in massive looting, primarily using real estate lending programs. It's primarily based in real estate, although it involves cars, trucks, and boats, and snowmobiles, and consumer credit programs, credit cards. They have used the financial systems of the Federal Reserve and the United States government to fund the deep state, to fund the swamp. Now, when Donald Trump says that the media is the enemy of the people, the answer is the media has remained silent. The media won't help you expose this. The media won't lift a damn finger, because a lot of these great big media corporations are owned by the financial institutions of the United States and around the world. This financial nightmare that's been plaguing the free world, and even China and in Russia, these financial hooligans, these bamboozlers, these horse thieves, have been rigging politics all over the planet using central bank notes. You know, reserve notes, the stuff you have in your pocket that's printed up right out of the thin air. So folks, the whistle has been blown. This guy right here has been blowing the whistle for a very long time. Over 35 years. And the national news media is dead silent. The FHA, HUD is fighting. The Consumer Finance Protection Board is resisting. They don't want to produce their records. They fight you when you pin them down and start asking for records. They will not cooperate. And that's going out to all my friends. The Department of Justice and the FBI, they're involved in it up to their eyeballs with Mueller and Comey. And Christopher Wray and Louis Freeh and William Webster and William Weld, and the list just goes on and on and on. Janet Reno, John Ashcroft, Alberto Gonzalez, you name it. Goes back to Ed Meese, goes back to William French Smith. Look that one up. The Attorney General of the United States, William French Smith. So make sure you visit all the links below. Make sure you include all your comments, add some comments below, and do some research on how the deep state and the swamp actually is being funded, actually is being enabled, and see who the actuaries, who the perpetrators actually are. And then you'll begin to figure it out that it's not Russia, Russia, Russia. And Robert Mueller, shame on you, Chief. Comey, man, you guys are corrupt. Oh my God, you and Lynch and Holder, Eric Schneiderman, Elliot Spitzer, Neil Bromsky, this dog and pony show, Trey Gowdy, and Representative Gorham from Texas, Goham, or however you say that name, Gorham and Gowdy. You guys have got to be fooling me, man. You have got to be fooling me. Now, folks, I'm going to leave it right there. Study the links below, and you'll begin to wake up. And as always, hasta la vista. God bless, and you betcha, we're coming back.